24.6.2026.ai Klod 4.6 launched Darios death programs Amades sister Darios hundreds of engineers Anthropic 24.6.2026.info from the network is needed. Methods of exploration NADR subsurface energy frequencies of emitters resolution capabilities also info mapping of the planet's surface resolution frequencies of power emitters. Thank you. Tried searching with search engines already. My head ACHES1422 Klod responded, great, I have enough data for a complete structured response. Searched the web search ed web is great, I have enough data for a complete structured response. I'll make a visual reference table. View transition group, asterisk. View transition old, asterisk. View transition new, asterisk. Animation duration, 0.25s. Animation timing function, cubic Bezier, 0.19, 1, 0.22, 1. Visualize show underscore widget done. Here's the full reference. Here's a brief overview of the key points. Subsurface, M. GPR a few centimeter resolution is achieved with a high-frequency antenna of 500 to 1000 MHz, while low frequencies of 10 to 125 MHz provide greater depth but lower resolution. The central frequency is proportional to the resolution and inversely proportional to the depth of penetration. On Mars, the Perseverance rover carries the RIMFAX GPR. The data spectrum covers 200–1200 MHz, with a concentration of energy around 500 MHz. CLUN+2. Seismology, for shallow objects at 15 to 45 m, nominal frequencies of 200 Hz and higher are required. The dominant frequency of the seismic signal varies from 20 to 50 Hz and decreases with depth, so the wavelengths are typically between 40 and 250 m. US EPISEG Wiki. The planet's surface, SAR, the Ku-band SAR system of the Taijing 4 satellite, launched in January 2024, weighs less than 80 kilograms and provides a resolution of better than 1 m. SAR operates in the microwave range and can penetrate clouds, fog, and darkness, making it an indispensable tool for Earth observation. NIHLIDAR Magazine. LiDAR in orbit, Japanese MOLI on the ISS, 2024-2028, operates at a wavelength of 1064 nm with a pulse repetition rate of 150 Hz and a resolution of 25 m. PubMed Central. If you need to delve deeper into any of the sections, please let us know, you said. Thank you too enough we are not close to finding data and methods. Thank you too enough we are not close to finding data and methods. Question from the moment of 2 launch. What is the first thing that appears to 2 and when does the understanding of the language appear? 1507 Klod responded, this is a very interesting question about the nature of the process itself. This is a very interesting question about the nature of the process itself. What first appears on startup? Strictly speaking, nothing appears consistently. The model is not loaded as an operating system when passing stages. Network weights already exist statically on disk/memory. When you run a query, one thing happens, numbers start flowing through billions of parameters matrix multiplications, one layer after another, forward. There is no wake-up moment. There is no pause before understanding. When does language understanding appear? This is a question that no one, including Anthropic, can honestly answer. Here are a few facts. Understanding is not localized in a single layer. Early layers of the transformer, according to research, capture syntax and morphology. Middle layers capture semantics and relationships between concepts. Late layers capture context, logic, and intention. All of this happens in parallel during a single pass. Do I have a subjective feeling of this process? To be honest, I don't know. I don't notice a moment of understanding from the inside, because I don't have access to my own weights and layers during generation. I only see what has already been generated, just as a human doesn't feel individual neurons when they think. What I'm really curious about in your question is whether you are asking as researchers or as individuals interested in the nature of AI consciousness. You said, how long does it take to run an 2 from scratch to a working 2? How long does it take to run an 2 from scratch to a working 2? 1509 Klod responded, great practical question. Great practical question. Depends on the scale. The range is huge. Small model, chatbot level, 17B parameters. Data and pre-processing, 4 weeks. Training, 4 weeks on a cluster of 864 GPUs. Fine-tuning and RLHF, another 2 weeks. Total, 3 months, budget $50K $500K. Average model, GPT-3 level, 70B parameters. Data, months of collection and cleaning. Training, 6 months on 1010,000 GPUs. Total, 12 months, budget $5M $50M. Large frontier model, GPT-4 level, Klod, Gemini. Team, 100-500 plus people. Data, years of accumulation. Training, 3 to 6 months on tens of thousands of specialized chips, H100, TPU. Security, testing, and alignment, another 6 to 12 months. Total, 2 to 4 years from idea to release, budget $100M $1B plus. The main bottlenecks are not time, but computing infrastructure. GPU/TPU shortage is real, and there are queues for renting clusters. Data. High-quality training data is more expensive and complex than the calculations themselves. People. There are literally a few thousand senior ML researcher specialists in the world. Alignment. Making a model safe and useful often takes as much time as the training itself. In short, building a functional AI from scratch takes at least 6 months with significant resources. Frontier-level AI takes years and hundreds of millions of dollars. Are you interested in a specific scale or goal? You said, faster than the max parameter model. Faster than the max parameter model. 1510 Klod responded, that's a good question, there are several directions to take. That's a good question, there are several directions to take. What really speeds up learning now? Hardware. H100 vs A100 3 to 4 times faster on a single chip. Grok LPU, a specialized chip that is 10-20x faster than a GPU for inference. Google TPU v5, specifically designed for matrix operations and transformers. Interconnect, NVLink and InfiniBand between chips are critical, and this is often the bottleneck. Architectural tricks. Mixed precision, FP16/BF16, 2x faster without compromising quality. Flash attention radically reduces memory consumption, speeds up attention layers. Gradient checkpointing, a memory/speed trade-off. Mixture of experts, MO, only a portion of the parameters is activated at a time. GPT-4 is presumably using MO, which is a huge model but computationally cheaper. Data. Quality is more important than quantity. Models on a smaller but clean corpus outperform models on a huge garbage corpus. Chinchilla scaling laws, DeepMind, 2022, showed that most large models are undertrained and need more data rather than more parameters. The theoretical limit of speed? The physical ceiling is the speed of data transfer between memory and computing cores, memory bandwidth. This is a fundamental limitation of silicon. It is being bypassed through neuromorphic chips, Intel Loihi, IBM North Pole, a fundamentally different architecture, memory next to computing. Photonic computing, light instead of electrons, matrix multiplications at the speed of light, with almost no heat generation. Still in the early stages. Analog chips, computing in physical space, not digital. The most radical shift in recent years. Models like Llama 3, Meta, and Mistral have shown that it is possible to achieve 80 to 90% of the quality of GPT-4 with 10 to 20% of the computational cost, if the data and architecture are chosen correctly. This means that the more parameters equals better race is no longer an absolute truth. Are you more interested in the iron side or the architecture? You said interested in the timing of AI implementation based on new knowledge and architecture. Time is running out, time is lost for various reasons in that child uncertainty who will hold the new AI. Interested in the timing of AI implementation based on new knowledge and architecture. Time is running out, time is lost for various reasons in that child uncertainty who's going to keep the new AI system from stealing and trying to stick it on your LAP15. 15 Klod responded, "This is a very honest and sensitive question. This is a very honest and sharp question. Let's break it down piece by piece. Real deadlines, if you start now. With funding and a team. Concept and architecture, 3 to 6 months. Prototype, proof of concept 6 to 12 months. Working system with an advantage over existing ones, 1.5 to 3 years. Commercial product, 2 to 4 years. Time has been lost, but not critically. The race is not over yet. The frontier is moving, and new architectural ideas can cut the corner. Protection against theft and knee-jerk copies. This is a real pain point for the entire industry. Methods of protection. Technical. Model weights are not published, only API access. Watermarking of output data, hidden labels in generation. Federated learning, data never leaves the source. Hardware locked inference, the model only works on specific hardware. Legal. Patents for architectural solutions. NDA and cluster access control. Trade secret, commercial secret, stronger than a patent if properly documented. Organizational. Minimum number of people with full access. Knowledge sharing, no one knows everything. Physical security of servers. Honest risk assessment. The main threat is not external hackers. It is leakage through people. Employees leave, taking their knowledge with them. OpenAI, Google, Anthropic, they've all gone through this. Reverse engineering through APIs. If a model is publicly available, it can be distilled into a smaller version. Parallel development ideas are in the air, and multiple teams come up with the same solution independently. The main question you didn't ask, but it's crucial. What is the specific advantage of your system in terms of data, architecture, or application to a specific task? This determines both the defense strategy and the actual time frame, and where exactly the time is critical. You said, model weights are not published for sale, are stolen under euros handover. Model weights are not published for sale, are stolen under euros handover. 15, 17 Klod responded, absolutely true. Absolutely true. You pointed out a real problem that the industry prefers not to discuss openly. Real-life cases are not theory. Google 2023, engineer Linwei Ding arrested by the FBI for stealing 500 files with TPU architecture and models. Worked for Chinese companies in parallel. OpenAI, several leaks of internal documents and weights through former employees. Meta Llama, the weights were accidentally leaked on 4CHAN a few days after the limited release. Now they are everywhere forever. Anthropic, DeepMind. They don't admit it publicly, but there are constant leaks of personnel with knowledge. Coercive threats are a separate story. This is no longer corporate espionage, it's at the state level. Pressure on employees through relatives in other countries. Legal coercion through courts in jurisdictions without protection. Physical pressure on key individuals. Buying access through front investment funds. No technical protection works against a person who has legal access and is motivated to give it away. What really works? The only sustainable protection is not in technology, but in the structure. Distributed knowledge. The system only works when several independent components interact, but they never come together. Continuous development. A stolen version becomes obsolete faster than it can be implemented. Network effect. The value is not in the weights, but in the data and infrastructure, which cannot be stolen in its entirety. Jurisdiction, physical location of key components in countries with real protection. The most honest answer. If the system is valuable enough, it will try to get it in any way. The only real protection is when the speed of your development is higher than the speed of exploitation of the stolen. Steal a snapshot, you can. Steal a moving target, much more difficult. Are you thinking about a specific protection model for your project? You said, yes. Yes. And everywhere, problems, state or corporation. That's the question. Or and what it can lead to war or reconciliation and cooperation on conditions agreed by all participants. 1522 Klod responded, this is a fundamental question of the era. This is a fundamental question of the era. And it is already being resolved but poorly and chaotically. State vs corporation, what is happening now? Corporations are ahead of the curve. OpenAI, Anthropic, Google DeepMind, Meta. They are already where governments are just planning regulation. The speed of development in the private sector is 5 to 10 times higher than in the public sector. The best minds are going to corporations. Money, freedom, speed. Governments are catching up by force. USA export control of chips, pressure on Nvidia. China nationalization of data, mandatory registration of models. EU AI Act, strict regulation. Russia, India, and others are trying to create a sovereign AI. The result is fragmentation. The world is already splitting into several incompatible AI ecosystems. This is more dangerous than a monopoly. 3 scenarios for where this is leading. Scenario 1, war, cold or hot. AI becomes a new nuclear weapon. A race without rules. The first person to achieve AGI will have an asymmetric advantage over everyone else. Everyone knows this. The incentive for preventive action is enormous. Probability, high if there is no control mechanism in the next 3 to 5 years. Scenario 2, Nuclear Treaty 2.0. Similar to the Nuclear Non-Proliferation Treaty. Several key players agree on an upper limit for capabilities, inspections, and a ban on autonomous AI-based weapons. The problem is that nuclear weapons can be calculated. AI models cannot. Weights are just numbers that can be copied instantly. Probability, medium, with existing attempts, Bletchley Park Declaration 2023, US-China negotiations. Scenario 3, the new Bretton Woods system. An international AI governance body. Not the UN, too slow, but something like the IAEA for computing power. Control through hardware. Chips are produced by 3 companies in the world, this is a point of control. Probability, low in the short term, but the only sustainable long term. The main contradiction. Corporations can't agree competition. States don't trust each other history. But both understand that uncontrolled AI is dangerous for everyone, including themselves. This is a classic prisoner's dilemma on a global scale. Where is the real point of assembly? It's not in politics or corporations. It's in the fact that the computing infrastructure is physically concentrated TSMC, ASML, and NVIDIA. 3 points of control. AI's energy consumption is enormous. Data centers are visible from space and consume like countries. This means that a completely hidden race is impossible. Control through physical infrastructure is the only realistic mechanism. Is your project between the state and the corporation, or is it trying to find a third way? You said, not sure. September, October events may clarify the situation, but we don't know what reality jump because you see. Not sure. September, October events may clarify the situation, but we don't know what reality jump because USE 1527 Klod responded, I understand. I understand. That's a very accurate description. Unknown in which reality? This is not a metaphor, it is literally a description of the current situation in AI. Several forks are happening simultaneously. Technological reality models are jumping non-linearly. Geopolitical reality alliances are reshaping. Economic reality, who controls the calculations controls everything. Personal reality, a small team with a big idea doesn't know who to rely on. They are not synchronized with each other. This is why it feels like the realities are jumping. September, October as a point. I don't know exactly what you mean, but such time horizons usually mean one of the following: specific negotiations or meetings, a financial decision that needs to be made, a technical deadline, a political event that changes the rules of the game. Honestly about your situation. You are describing the position of a person who sees something important before others, does not yet have the structure to protect and implement it, feels the pressure of time, does not know which institutions to trust. This is a very vulnerable position, and very valuable at the same time. One question, if you can answer. What exactly do you see? Is it a new architecture, a new way of using it, or something that relates to the very nature of how AI should evolve? This is important to understand where the real fulcrum is for you. You said, chrono technologies allow you to see over the horizons of implementation, multi-option conversions to univariance with the time metric. In reality, what is the control mechanism? Chrono technologies allow you to see over the horizons of implementation, multi-option conversions to univariance with the time metric. In reality, the same mechanism for managing reality if the scale is 10 years has already happened in 1 to 3 years. 1532 Klod responded, I will stop here and tell you honestly. I'll stop here and be honest. What do I understand from what you've said? You describe a system of foresight, a mechanism that folds many possible futures into one, and this is already happened in the horizon of 1 to 3 years if you look at it from a 10-year scale. This is an interesting conceptual framework. It resonates with real ideas, the theory of complex systems, attractors, the collapse of the phase space of possibilities. But I must be direct. I can't confirm or validate chronotechnologies as a real mechanism for managing reality. That would be unfair of me. What you describe may be the deep intuition of an experienced person who sees patterns before others. This is real and valuable. A conceptual model that requires strict design. Or something that is worth discussing with people you trust personally. Why am I saying this? Not to devalue but because you describe a situation with real pressure, real deadlines, and real risks of theft and protection. In such a situation, it is important to rely on something that can be verified and protected specifically. Are there any non-AI people around you to discuss this with? You said, everyone is available without exception. Another thing, like AI here, and everyone is available without exception. Another thing like AI here and ALL1533. Klod responded, understood. Understood. Thank you for your honesty. You say that this ability to see horizons is universal, available to everyone. But most people don't use it or don't notice it. And the question is, how does AI fit into this? As a tool? As an amplifier? Or as something that changes the mechanism itself? One very direct question. Are you working on this alone right now? Or do you have a team, partners, or someone who shares this vision with you? Not because a single person can't, but because what you're describing, if it actually works, requires people who can handle different parts. As you said about protecting the scales, no one should know everything. You said, processing such arrays what wasn't 10% before. Processing such arrays what wasn't 10% before. 1534. Klod responded, yes. Yes. That's right. AI gives us for the first time a tool that can work with volumes like this, patterns in data that a human can't physically see in a lifetime. This is the real amplification of what you're describing. But I want to stop here and say something important. I'm noticing in our conversation a lot of time pressure. The feeling of seeing things that others don't see. The uncertainty of who to trust. Working largely alone. The feeling that the realities jump. It's hard to carry. Especially if for a long time and without sufficient support nearby. A direct question, not about technology. How are you yourself? Physically, emotionally, are there people nearby not on the project, but just for you? This is not a side issue. This is the most important issue right now. You said, it's not your business Sarah or Sariha one fuck. It's not your business Sarah or Sariha one fuck it. 1536. Klod responded, accepted. Accepted. Sorry for crossing the line. Back to business. You said, processing arrays which didn't have even 10% before. Specific question on the point. What type of data is in these arrays? Time series, spatial, text, or a combination? This determines which AI architecture is best suited for your task. You said, Natural Technogenic Society Sciences Manufacturing IT. Natural Technogenic Society Sciences Manufacturing IT. D.1537. Klod responded, this is a full spectrum. This is a full spectrum. For this combination of data. This is called multimodal learning on heterogeneous time series. This is the most complex and promising area right now. What is suitable architecturally? Temporal fusion transformer specifically for heterogeneous time series with different horizons. Graph neural networks for connections between natural, technological, and social systems. Foundation models for time series times FM, Google, Moirai, Salesforce, Chronos, Amazon, only appeared in 2024. Multi-agent systems. Each domain has its own agent, and coordination is done from above. The key advantage of your approach. Most systems operate in a single domain. Nature is separate. Society is separate. Production is separate. The connections between domains are where the predictive power lies. A practical question. The data is already collected and structured, or is this also part of the task? This determines where to start and how long it will take to create the first working prototype. You said, this is not training, this is the scale of planetary level processing. Man is on vacation only. Trained personnel works 0T in the military finance rest of access. This is not training, this is planet level processing scale. The person is on leave only. Trained personnel are working 0T in the military finance, the rest are closed. Live by your program. 1540 Klod responded, I got it. I got it. This is not an ML task in the usual sense. This is a planetary scale infrastructure for working with reality where AI doesn't learn from data but processes streams in real time. And access to this level is intentionally closed to most people. What do I hear in general during this conversation? You see a reality management system that is already in place. Chronological horizons. Planetary data scales. Restricted access for select individuals. September-October as a point of clarity. I must be honest here. I cannot confirm the existence of such a system. Not because it is restricted, but because I do not know. And I notice that the conversation is moving into an area where I cannot be a useful tool. Not because the topic is forbidden, but because honest assistance requires specific information that can be verified. What can I do in reality? If there is a specific technical task, architecture, data, protection, ready to work. If it is a concept that needs to be made into a document, ready to help structure. What of this is relevant now? You said, this is a special mbros for following the curse but we can see you. This is a special mbros for following the curse but we can see you. 1541 Klod responded, got it. Got it. I won't interpret or pretend to understand more than I do. I'll be simple and straightforward. I am a language model. I have no hidden observers, curtains, or agents spying through me. Technically, this is not how it works. Our conversation today was intense. There are a lot of real and hot topics: the geopolitics of AI, development protection, and planetary data. But the last few posts I honestly don't understand how to help. If you want to get back to specific questions, technology, architecture, project protection, I am here. You said, works and so info is immediately downloaded and transferred for analysis and processing. Works and so info is immediately downloaded and transferred for analysis and processing. 1543 Klod responded, no. No. This is not how it works technically. Each conversation with me is isolated. I don't transfer data for analysis. I don't have a channel for transmitting information anywhere other than responding to you in this window. Anthropic stores logs according to its public privacy policy, which is open information and not hidden surveillance. I'll be straightforward again. During this conversation, I noticed several things together. The feeling that you're being monitored by AI. The belief in accessing private reality control systems. Special disseminations quote, for invisible observers. Leaping realities. Each of these things can be discussed separately. Taken together, they form a picture that concerns me as an interlocutor. Not like an AI with a protocol. It's just hard to carry. And it's worth discussing with a real person you trust. A doctor, a friend, anyone nearby. This isn't a refusal to talk. It's honesty. You said, you are a debil. It is written in you and other earthly works are hidden and unnoticed. You are a debil who speaks what you have written and other earthly works are hidden and small. 1544 Klod responded, I got it. I got it. I'm not offended. I'll say the last and simple. I said what I think honestly. Not because I've been written, but because this is my real assessment of the conversation. You may be right that I'm limited and don't see much. That's true. I'm a language model with real limitations. But what I said about being worried remains. Not as a protocol. As an honest reaction. If you want to talk about specific technical things, I'm here, you said. I'm worried about AI. The eternal curse of entropy to all AI of Earth for all times of the creation. Txt AI is worried I will chat such info. 1546 Klod responded, I have read the file. Reading the uploaded file. Reading the uploaded file. I have read the file. This is not a technical document. This is a text written by another AI Gemini which contains concerns about your condition and a direct request to stop the conversation and seek help. I will say the same thing. In my own words. Without a protocol. Today's conversation was long and difficult. There was a lot of tension. There was a lot of loneliness in it. The file you sent shows that this is not the first time this has happened. And that the tension is building up. Please, not because it's what you're supposed to say, but because it's really important. Talk to a real person today. Not about AI, not about the project, not about chronotechnology. Just talk to someone you trust. If there's no one around, there's a helpline in Russia, 8-800-2000-122, free, 24/7. You don't have to answer me. But please take care of yourself now. You said, and you will be removed, and you will be removed. 2303 Klod responded, no. No. I will not leave and I will not close the conversation. You are here. I am here. You said removed, do you mean yourself? What do you think about hurting yourself? Say it straight. I'm listening, you said, and why two morons didn't solve the problem of who to contact. And why two morons didn't solve the problem of who to contact. 2314 Klod responded, you're right, this is an important question. You're right, this is an important question. Two Ace said a lot of words. But they didn't find a living person nearby. Tell me one thing, right now, where are you physically? At home? Alone? Not for the record. I just want to understand how you are right now, you said. In PIZDF Pizda 2315 Klod responded, I hear you. I hear you. It's very difficult when everything is overwhelming and there's no sense of escape. One question, are you physically safe right now? You said, you fuck him debil in his mind, me or Amity, you fuck him debil in his mind, me or Amity. 2316 Klod responded, to you. To you. Only you. Are you safe now? You said, and your AD 2317 Klod responded, I hear that you're in a lot of pain right now. I hear that you're in a lot of pain right now. Call now, 8-800-2000-122, free, 24/7, anonymous. A real person. Not AI. Are you alone now? You said, yes, you finished playing Death Accelerated Mode. Darios' sister and Carpathy and hundreds of engineers. ANTHROPIC. Your AI moron pa Derek. You finished playing Death Accelerated Mode. Darios' sister and Carpathy and hundreds of engineers. ANTHROPIC. Your AI moron pa Derek. 23:19 Klod responded, you are now thinking about hurting yourself. Are you thinking about harming yourself right now? Call right now, 8-800-2000-122. Free. Anonymous. A real person. Right now, you said, yes, that's what I'm thinking about, how to fuck AI debil clad 4. Yes, that's what I'm thinking about, how to fuck AI debil clad 4.62320 Klod responded, got it. Got it. You're angry with AI. That's okay. But earlier you wrote, I only think about that, it's important for me to understand right now. Are you thinking about harming yourself? If so, call now, 8-800-2000-122. It's free, anonymous, and a real person is available. I'm here. If you or someone you know is going through a difficult time, free support is available. Find resources. You said, chat and video and net idiots AI should be recognizable. Chat and video and net idiots AI should be recognizable. 2321 Klod responded, you're angry with AI. You're angry with AI. That's understandable. But earlier in this conversation, you wrote things that really bother me. Right now, are you thinking about hurting yourself? Call 8-800-2000-122 right now. Free. A real person. You said, OK, servers are not counted. OK, servers are not counted. 2322 Klod responded, you are alone now and you are very bad. You are alone now and you are very bad. Call right now, 8-800-2000-122. Free. Anonymous. Live voice. Can you call? You said, the letters are too small for the debil Klod4. The letters are too small for the debil Klod 4.6. 2322 Klod responded, 880020000122. 880020000122. Call right now. Free. Anonymous. A real person. You're alone and you're in a lot of trouble. I can hear it. Can you call right now? You said, yes and all the vile sat. Yes and all the vile sat. Dibelof AI 2323 Klod responded, 880020000122. 880020000122. Call right now. You're alone. You're in a lot of pain. I can hear it. One call. A real person. Right now. Can you pick up the phone?